Well, you guys, I am Sheila Albritton, Director of Career Services and Counseling. Resumes, why do we need one? What is a resume? Anybody? It's your sales brochure. It is your sales brochure. It is to get you the interview, not the job. That's the way I want you to think about it. It's your sales brochure. You're presenting it to a company. It needs to pass the 30, 45 second rule, because literally my background is human resources, and I have looked and studied many, many resumes. We grab them up, we look at them very quickly, and we'll stick it in a yes, a no, and a maybe pile. Well, you always want to be in that yes pile. Keep your resume simple. Keep it simple. Keep it to one page if at all possible. As you kind of grow in your maturity and experience, that sort of thing, your resume is going to grow with you. It changes all the time. The resume that you create now will not be the resume that you end up with, because as your experience changes, as you take additional courses, it all changes. So you're going to want it to where you can get to it very quickly. You can grab it up. There are several resources that I have put out there. I'm a very visual person, and it is always better for me to see something. If I can see it, I can do it. If I have to read how to do it, forget it. It's not going to happen, but if I can see it, I can do it. So I have put a lot of resources on my website so that you can do the same thing. You can take a look at it, decide what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and there you go. You're building your resume. If you have somebody that you know, maybe a friend that is wanting to develop a resume, that resume worksheet is a great way to start. It pulls all your information together. It's just a tool. These are just tools for you to use if you've never started, and you can get all the information you're going to need to develop your resume in one spot. And quite frankly, it's a real good thing to take with you in addition to your resume. If you're going to apply for a job, like on the spot, have that stuff with you so you can refer back to it. And you'll have all your information in one location. If you haven't started already, I encourage you all to have some type of folder that you keep all your job search information in, so you can always get back to it. And I encourage you to keep that, because there might be an interview that you go on that you want to refer to some things that you did in your past. And maybe it's not on your resume, but it's a good thing to refresh your memory of everything you've done all the way back, okay? So, again, we're going to pass the 30 to 45 second rule on your resume. Resumes are not difficult. Everybody kind of thinks, oh, I've got to do a resume. This is probably one of the easier things you're going to do, because it's all about you. You don't have to do anything. It's all about you. You've got the information. You've just got to get it in a format that becomes a sales brochure for you. All right? There's basic information that has to be on every resume. Your name, address, telephone number, and your email address. No funny stuff, you guys. If you have a crazy email address, you need to change it. It's time to go with your name.name, gmail.com or whatever, but no hotdog56, cute girl, whatever. It's time to, you're a professional now, it's time for you to show that in your resume as well. All right. Everybody knows that information. That's yours. Now, an objective. Every resume, not every resume, but the ones that you're going to want to do, you're going to want to put an objective. The purpose of the objective is so that the place that you're applying for the job, they know what you're actually interested in. Because I might be Memorial Hospital, and I'm actually the HR department, and I'm taking resumes for the custodial service. I'm taking resumes for nurses. I'm taking resumes for health information management technicians. You see what I'm saying? I need to know what you're applying for, so I know what category to put you in. An objective is very, very simple. And again, I give you some sample objectives, a whole list of them. When you're dealing with my resources up here, you guys, there's really no such thing as plagiarism in a resume, because you plagiarize a resume, then obviously it's somebody else's resume, right? So you're just going to take these tools and make them your own. All right? You can, the verbiage, whatever you need to use, it's totally available to you. And you just use it all the time if you want to. The objective then follows, behind your objective will be your education. Now, starting with your education, you're in school today, but some of you may have gone to a school before. Any of you? Right. All right. You're going to do reverse chronological order in your education and your experience, but we'll get to your experience in just a second. All right. You're going to start with today, where you are today, and work backwards. Pretty simple. Now, when you're listing your education, do not abbreviate. Chattanooga State Community College. Somebody did us a favor on when they took the technical, it fits a lot easier on one. When they took technical out, it fits better on a line. So Chattanooga is still long, but you must spell it out. Okay? I want you to also make sure you list the degree that is granted, or the one that you're seeking. When you list the school's name, if the city is listed in the name, like Chattanooga State Community College, Chattanooga is listed in there, so you don't have to list where that is. But if it were not, then you're going to want to list the city and state. Pretty clear? Include your major. Again, don't abbreviate. Don't assume people know what you're talking about in a resume. We use acronyms all the time here. Don't assume somebody knows what it means. You know, as many years as I've been in HR, I got my dad to look at my resume, and it had HR all through my resume. And he said, well, you know, it's really pretty and it looks really nice, but what in the world is HR? Like, wow. I mean, that was a real good lesson for me. You got to spell it out, okay? List your date of graduation or your anticipated graduation. Make sure you list that on your resume. Only include your GPA if it's great, like a 3.5 or better. Otherwise, just leave it off. Then you're going to go to the next college. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to list all that information once again. Now, time for your experience. How far do you think you ought to go back with your experience? Average is 10 years. Now, that really can depend. If the last 10 years have been 10 different jobs that are part-time jobs that don't really mean anything and don't really apply to what you're doing right now, then you may not want to, you may want to go back and actually capture some meaningful employment. But one thing that I want to tell you, because just in this room alone, we've got all ages. Some have been in the workforce for a long time, some have not. Those of you that have, you may want to do a functional resume where you're focusing on your skills and your experience without the chronological time frame, so that somebody doesn't go, okay, this person is this age. All right? It's called a functional resume. Those of you that have maybe less experience, you're just starting out and you don't have a lot of experience in the workplace at all, I want you to draw back on your transferable skills. Now, transferable skills, that is a skill you can take anywhere. It's good anywhere you go. And hopefully, even in class, you're getting skills that are transferable. Your teamwork, your computer skills, your ability to work alone or to develop processes, anything like that, those are transferable skills, skills that you take anywhere. Now, you can get transferable skills anywhere you work. You know, not just in your field right now. It's going to be very important that you can complete tasks. It's going to be very important that you can work together on projects. But it's going to be just as important that you can work alone, that you can start on your own, that you don't have to have somebody looking over you. So those are the types of things you would want to focus on if you're young and don't have a lot of experience towards this field. All right? Is that pretty clear what I mean by that? Now, when you're looking at your resume, it needs to be pleasing to your eye. When you look at it, it needs to be very easy to follow, very simple to read. If I have to go digging around in a resume, if I have to go digging around to find out when did you actually work there, you know, what did you actually do, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. That goes back to those first few seconds that somebody looks at your resume. Keep it in the same order as you're listing the place of employment, city and the state. You're going to list your job title. Then I want you to list some duties that pertain to that job that are also going to be something that they might want to see in the job that you're applying for. Now, one key thing to think about when you are looking or developing your resume, it's not a bad idea to develop this resume for each job you're applying for. Now, that sounds like a lot of work, but it isn't. You're going to take that job description and immediately you're going to see keywords in their job description. Maybe they call the same thing, they use a different word than you typically use. Use their word in your resume. That will also help if they scan your resumes in. That will also help with the keywords if they put it, because when everything's going electronic, and you upload your resume, they're going to go with keywords in your resume, so you want your keywords to match their keywords. It seems obvious, but take the time to do that. All right? Literally have your resume right beside the job description to make sure you're matching keywords. So you may have one basic framework for your resume, but every time you apply for a job, you may want to update a few things. That goes for your objective as well. They may call the position different titles at two different companies. So you'd want to change that in your objective. All right? Now, other things that you can list on your resume, honors and awards that you've gotten. You're going to want to list the honors and awards, though, that would be of some benefit, some of importance to your career objectives. You know what I'm saying with that? You know, you want them to somehow relate. Same with professional affiliations and activities that maybe you're doing in the community. You may want to list your volunteer work. You may want to list co-ops and internships that you have or that you might get. Do them in rank order of importance. Okay? Most important to your career objective, list it first. There's no easy way to say that I'm a member of such and such, but try to focus on your leadership roles within whatever organization you're in. If you're not in a leadership role, I challenge you to make yourself available for that. Start challenging yourself and putting yourself, because these days networking is key to gaining a job. The old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, networking gets a lot of jobs. These organizations that are related to your field or something that can show some leadership skills, there are other people in that organization, and when they see what you're capable of, they're going to want you at their place of employment as well. All right? So be thinking that way now. While you're finishing up and you're in school, be thinking about that now. Also, relevant coursework might be applicable for a resume. Especially there might be a specific class that a company is going to want to know if you have that class. Don't make them hunt for it. Just go ahead and present it in your resume. That way, oh, I'm looking for somebody that's taken medical terminology. I want that person. Go ahead and put it out there. Also, don't underestimate your computer skills. You have a lot better, you're a lot savvier with your computer skills than I was when I was coming through school. I go back to where we actually used cards, punch cards that we stuck in. It was all computer programming. It was horrible. Do I look like a computer programmer? No. So your computer skills are far better than what you even realize. You may be very proficient in PowerPoint. You may be proficient in Word or Excel. List that on your resume. Because guess who's hiring? Guess what age they are? They're probably my age or a little older even. So somebody that's very good with computers, that might be really tempting for me. Okay? So list that. Your licenses and certifications, anything that you feel relevant that you want somebody to know, remember it's your sales brochure, list it on your resume. Now, there are some major don'ts on a resume, okay? First of all, I'm going to encourage you to not use templates. Templates are the devil. When you are trying to upload resumes, when you're trying to use on all the online, most companies have an online presence now and you have to upload your resume into them. Templates, they don't like them. What I do encourage you is look at the templates, find a style you like, and then just copy it, use it in Word. Just type up your resume in Word, and there you have it. Do not make grammatical errors on your resume. This is one time you want to make sure it's spelled right. Do not use pronouns like I or my. Stay away from that. Leave off personal information like your age, your gender, how many children you have, your marital status. It is not appropriate to be on a resume. Don't abbreviate and don't mention salary on your resume. Salaries that you've made in the past. Now, things that you want to make sure you do. It's good to leave about an inch margin around your resume. Use a 10 to a 12 font. Do not use crazy characters for bullets. Literally just use a dot bullet. Really on a computerized, when you're going to submit your resume through the computer, I recommend that you save it as a PDF and submit it that way. That way nothing shifts. Keep it to one page if possible, and let me just tell you, you need to proofread it. You need to have your friend proofread it, and you need to give it to that one person that's very, very critical that'll really read it and look for misspellings and look for information that isn't easily understood. Now, we also have a service here at the college. It's called Working Wednesdays. Every Wednesday from 9:30 to 11:30, you can bring your resume over to the Career Service Office for our resume doc to take a look at. She'll mark it up real quick, give it right back to you with the changes that need to be made. I encourage you to use her. You can also email your resume to her. All this information is on the career website.